Welcome back to the Hot Desk. Now to a Waterford company which is expanding. Radius Technologies, which is based at the Six Crossroads Business Park, has acquired a Cork IT company as part of a strategic national plan to grow the business. And joining me now is John Gleeson, who's a director with Radius Technology. Thanks for coming in, John.
Good morning, Julie. Thank you for having me.
If you tell us first of all, what is it that Radius does?
Radius Technologies is an IT company which, I suppose, basically we have three pillars to what we do. One is managed IT services, whereby we look after IT equipment for companies. The second pillar of what we do would be cloud-based services, specifically private cloud. I'll explain that to you in a little while. And the third pillar to what we do is telephony. So we would install telephone systems, both the traditional box on the wall type systems and then cloud-based systems as well.
Okay, so this company, Waterford company, founded by Jerry Buckley, you've been involved yourself as well for a good... Nigh on 11 years now. Good chunk of time. But the company's going about 22 years, isn't
Correct.
That right?
Yeah.
So I would imagine the business has evolved and changed a lot over that time. Absolutely
Huge. I mean, there isn't a week goes by when there's some sort of change in the IT industry. I suppose the main thrust in recent years has been the move to cloud for a lot of different reasons. I suppose one of them would be data security would be the biggest one of the biggest drivers there. Cloud.
I mean, we are hearing an awful lot about cloud, and a lot of people listening will have some understanding of it. But can you explain just very generally what it is?
Well, I suppose in plain person's English, cloud computing is basically your server or your computing technology somewhere else. That's very simplistic, but it means your IT infrastructure is hosted in a data centre. All our IT infrastructure is hosted in Dublin-based data centres. But it's not just that. You get added, I suppose, facilities in terms of data backup, data security, disaster recovery, business continuity, wrapped into that one monthly payment for the service. What a lot of companies are also doing in terms of, say, if you take a software company who might have some application, maybe like Sage, for example, they are selling their product now as a monthly subscription service. But you need something to run that on. So you can go down the road of, say, just taking on that service, or you can move your entire infrastructure to the cloud, which brings all the benefits that I mentioned there earlier on to your business.
So this is something then that you're very much engaged in.
Absolutely. It's one of the primary drivers within the business. It's one of the primary pillars of what we do. We've invested heavily in our own private cloud infrastructure in a couple of data centres in Dublin. So we have all the disaster recovery and failovers. So if something goes drastically wrong, the business can be back up and running within, say, roughly about 15 minutes, as opposed to traditional businesses or traditional IT infrastructures where you might have a server on site. And typically, if that server did go belly up or whatever, if it dies, it could take 1 to 2 days to recover that server. Now, you can actually have real-time recovery options as well, but typically it's around 15 minutes before the business is back up and running.
Which is fantastic, because it is catastrophic really for a business in this day and age, isn't it? In this digital environment, if like that a server goes down or some technical problem that takes everybody offline, and you've people in the field and everybody's trying to access their services on their mobile and all these other devices now, and they've no access to information. So, I mean, that is key, and I'd imagine that is why probably that you have, as you say, developed a private cloud so that you can manage that better.
Absolutely. And, it's if you look at, say, the market space that we're in, which is firmly in the SME space, so typically anything up to 50 users and beyond. So if you're a business owner and you're out of action, it's 50 people multiplied by whatever cost. So it's down to cost and cost, not so much cost savings, but certainly it's down to cost and the cost of having 50 people looking at each other going, what do we do now? And you can't have that for a day or two. And then, of course, there's productivity, the loss of whatever those people are going to be doing anyway, plus their own cost. So to have that comfort within the business is absolutely essential.
So you're obviously seeing demand for these services.
It's huge.
Yeah.
It is huge. There's demand countrywide. And I think the end user, or the generally businesses, as you said earlier on, they've heard about cloud. They mightn't be too sure of what it is. So realistically, it's up to us to educate them in terms of what value it can actually bring to their business.
And what about security? Because I'm sure that is a concern as well for a business owner to hand over, this valuable data. As you say, there might have in previous years gone by been a computer room, but it was under lock and key and it was in their building. So, there is some sort of comfort in that physical space, but to hand it over to a company and it's up in the cloud, and how do you reassure them of the security of their data?
It's paramount. And Radius have ISO accreditation and 27001, which is data security. That's one element. The other element is that their data is held in what's called a Tier 3 data centre, which in itself is a very secure environment. And then they have full access to their own data. And their data and their complete infrastructure is firewalled from everybody else. So in terms of, I think the security piece, it used to be an issue because people didn't understand how it worked and what they were getting. But today, that whole security piece, I think, has been knocked on the head in terms of people's understanding of it. Equally, as I mentioned earlier, their data is available to them, particularly in a private cloud environment whereby you literally can put your hands on the data. Now, not physically, but you can send an engineer in to download their data onto, say, an external drive or something if they want to move or if they want to take their data elsewhere or whatever the reason might be. Whereas in public cloud, with the likes of, say, your Microsoft Azures and your Amazon Web Services, you don't actually know where that data is. Now, it is totally secure, but the whole private cloud piece brings certain benefits to business and certain comfort knowing that your data is secure and looked after. So
tell us about your expansion then. So you have acquired a Cork company, Fortuity. Tell us what they do and what benefit they'll bring to Radius.
Well, Radius over the last number of years has gone national. So our customer base would be a national customer base. And typically we have serviced that base from Waterford, from the southeast. Recently we opened up an office in Dublin and we have it staffed. But we identified the need. I suppose our big focus is on customer service, and we want to service those customers better. So the Cork acquisition brought a couple of things. One, it means we can service our existing client base in the Cork Southwest regions much more efficiently. And secondly, the acquisition means that we now have access to a different customer base that we can bring that an ethos to that company, number one, and also we have the other products and services that we do that, say, Fortuity may not have had access to in the past, and we can bring those to the party and bring them to their existing customer base as well.
So with the acquisition of this company now, is it signed, sealed and delivered to you, or is it all in process?
No, it's done. We made the announcement there last Thursday in national press and trade magazines and what have you. Photographs appeared on social media. So no, it's done. It's
so what's the current employee numbers then at Radius?
Radius, we're at 44 currently, and we've a recruitment drive on at the minute, so we should increase the headcount to in and around 50 by the time we're done.
So this acquisition and this expansion then, how is that all being funded?
It's being funded internally. We have built up a war chest over the last number of years. And we funded ourselves.
Have you been tempted at all to seek outside investment, or?
Interesting question, Julie. We have had an approach. We've had a couple of approaches over the last couple of years by venture capitalists, and we've taken the process to down the road really to a certain level. And I suppose when the first one approached us, we took it to a certain point, and we sort of decided we weren't really ready. So we said, thank you, but no thank you. And then we had another approach late last year. And again, we took it to a certain level. But what it did was it forced us to look drill right down into the business, drill down into every line item, drill down into every department, every function. And I suppose at the end of that process, we said, we can do this ourselves. We have the ability. What we didn't have, and it really came to the fore during the VC type process, was we didn't have a management team or a management structure in place. Certainly we had managers. We had myself and Jerry who managed the entire business. But when you grow to a certain level, you need to bring in professional managers to manage the different functions within the company. And that's what that's the process we started then late last year, to bring in a new managing director, to bring in a new chief technical officer to manage those functions. And we've a new CFO started with us a couple of weeks ago. So we've strengthened the management team, which allows myself and Jerry then to go forward and drive the business forward in terms of sales and in terms of potential further acquisitions.
Because it's important, isn't it, when you're growing like that, to have a strategy in place and to do as you have done, that root and branch assessment of where we are and where we want to be, and making sure all the bases are covered. So you're recruiting currently as well. Are you looking to fill many positions? We are.
We're looking to finish or to fill numerous positions across numerous functions, both from help desk levels 1, 2 and 3, engineering, project engineering managers, marketing manager, and all on our website, radius.ie/careers, if anybody's interested and wants to have a look at what's available there.
And do you find any problems getting staff locally?
It is a difficulty, in fairness, and it's not just Radius, it's across the industry as a whole, across the entire IT industry countrywide. Finding talent is difficult. I think we have a particular difficulty in this part of Ireland in that we need to sell ourselves better, I think. Now, I know that there's been a lot happening with Crystal Valley Tech and the likes, and it's beginning to get some traction. But we've got to sell, I think, we've got to sell the South East that for quality of life, cost of living, it's very hard to explain to people how good the quality of life is down here compared to, say, nothing against Dublin, and I love going to Dublin, but the pace of life, the traffic, the M50 car park, and what have you, we have such a fantastic, I don't know, area, whatever you want to call it.
Well, I don't think anybody listening needs much persuasion in that. As you say, Waterford is a great place, but yet it was still important for you to have a Dublin office, is it? It
is, because as I mentioned earlier on, we are nationwide. We have a large customer base in and around the Dublin area. We are looking to another acquisition over the next 6 to 12 months. One will certainly be in Dublin, and the second one will be over in the west, probably Galway direction.
Okay, very good. Yeah. So you need to suck them into the Dublin office, I think, and then gradually work on them to come down to Waterford and bring their friends. Well, best of luck with the expansion. It was lovely to hear all about it, John, and continued good fortune to Radius.
Thanks, Julie. Thanks very much.